Stevie, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts about Keon Coleman because the day that we were at the field house, I mean, we essentially hit it off from one end zone to the other, where we were talking about the Bills and the Stephon Diggs trade and what we thought needed to happen. So we said, hey, when the Bills do draft that wide receiver, because it's pretty evident that they're going to select one, I asked if you want to come on and talk about it, and you're like, yeah, for sure. So that brings us to tonight. So now that we know it's Keon Coleman, what are your thoughts? Because when you said that you used a lot of your basketball skill sets to get open as a wide receiver, I immediately had the thought of Keon Coleman played basketball growing up, as of late with Michigan State as well. So, what can you say about Keon Coleman as a wide receiver and how he fits in with this Bills offense and how maybe he can use some of those basketball skill sets to his advantage with that height and that size?
Yeah, he'll learn it. I'll just say believe in it. Don't forget about it. Right now, he going 100 miles an hour, and it's understandable because they want you to be fast, strong, and this and that. But once he gets settled in, then you'll really see another evolution of Keon Coleman. Right now, he is strong, TO type, route runner, catching everything. He got his catch radius is crazy. But once he gets settled in, you go see that boy take off. And along with that, the talent that he's got around him is going to help him take off. Whether you see it in year one or year two, we definitely got something special with this roster that we got together right now. I feel like it's a bigger version of what we had like the past 4 years. We just a bigger, stronger version of that, and more. I would say more players.
So that being said, you use your basketball skill sets to get open and use that quick footwork to your advantage. But I feel like someone like Coleman is going to use that size as if he's going up to grab a rebound or he's going to dunk. So if they're looking at him as like that big body receiver, that red zone target, do you kind of agree that maybe you use basketball in one version and now Coleman can take it to the next level with that size and that vertical ability?
Absolutely. I definitely want to see more red zone work and see exactly how they're getting him open or if he's getting open on his own. And I say that because when you get in the red zone, everything gets condensed. So if you running like regular routes, you got to have a perfect route for that to work. Or you can have a player that can create space on his own. And that starts with timing, understanding patience, tempo, pacing yourself. If you're going 100 miles an hour in a red zone, more times than not, it may not work. You're going to need a perfect pass or something like that. But with the skill set that he got and the size and the frame that he's got and the catch radius, he can not do as much. He can do little movements to just set up a DB and park him somewhere and then have Josh do the rest because you got a guy he's an elite quarterback also, So you don't have to do too much. I hope he understands that he don't have to do too much. It's just play your game and it's go shine. He go shine through.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a similar situation. Well, obviously in your draft class, you had a second-round draft choice by the name of James Hardy. Do you remember what he was? I mean, that's basically what the Bills at the time were thinking from him, right? Is there any correlation there?
Yes, I understand what they was thinking with having a big receiver and wanting to have red zone things like. But you got to understand there's skill types,
Yep.
And not to take anything away from my brother, rest in peace, James Hardy. But Hardy, he was straight line. He was a vertical guy. He wasn't really to come to balance, lateral, shake somebody, do a little hezzy. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't that type. And I feel like in a red zone, that's what you need. You need somebody that can space create, as opposed to just being a straight one level type of guy, and we've seen that these past couple years. Again, like I'm not trying to throw no dirt on nobody's name or anything like that, but it's obvious when you look at the player types with Diggs and with Gabe. Now, yeah, they're gone. Those are my guys. I still love them, but we was having a hard time in the red zone because it's not space creating, it's route running. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It may be foreign to what I'm saying, but you got to have space creating when you get inside that 20 or 25. And I love what the Bills are doing with having these tight ends that they've drafted the past 4 years or 3 years, because we got big body space creator tight ends. Our receivers. What's one of our receivers we got from Atlanta? Mac Hollins, I think it is.
Yep.
Mac Hollins. He's I wouldn't say he's like shifty how I was, but he's great at finding the hole. And if you got a sense for finding the holes, you don't have to be shifty. Just be smart and get to the hole and be patient and get there, and the quarterback will find you. Keon has every tool around him to be one of the greatest in our area. And on top of that, he's got the vision of the Andre Reeds, the Stevie Johnsons, the seeing what Stephon Diggs did with Josh, and understanding that any one of you receivers in here can get this type of love. Oh man, I'll be on cloud 9 right now as a Buffalo Bill receiver. So I'm proud. I'm proud for them. I'm proud for the coaching staff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these boys do the next 3 years.
How do you rank the differentiator between like a Diggs and then everybody else to now you have a scenario of like Khalil Shakir, a shifty, really great route running, good vision. He dominates in the nickel against the nickel corners. And then you have, player bigger bodies like they're talking about now with the Chase Claypool, who's said to be looking good throughout the spring. And you have obviously Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So you have a different look receiving core. How does that, in your experience, how does it compare to have a receiving core like that as compared to having like a Diggs and then everybody else? Like that works in a different way, right?
Yeah, having like diversity is great. Is great. And when I think about diversity, I want to say like more so with positions. I know we got great diversity in our receiver room. I think people can recognize that. I've yet to see a true space creator, but I still got to watch more tape. I still got to watch more film on it. I know in our tight end room we have some space creators. In our receiver room, I've seen the skill set there, but I don't know if they really like, what I'm saying? I don't know if they're utilizing it just yet. I just want to see more competition against DBs and stuff. But no knock at all to what we got in our room. We definitely got a good room. But when I say diversity now with different positions, the running back room is crucial. The offensive line room is crucial, when it comes down to having other playmakers. And I love what we did with getting James Cook. I couldn't believe we was actually able to get him when we drafted him. And then getting Ray Davis. Come on now, Ray Davis and Frank Gore Jr., who's hungry and feeling disrespected. Bro, I feel like our team. Do you remember when we first got Stephon Diggs and it was like, yo, we got Stephon Diggs and he's had no injuries. He's ready to prove himself. This is great. I feel like we got 7 Stephon Diggs right now on this team. Like so many people ready to prove themselves and be a part of this historic Mafia family. So I'm excited. I'm excited, man.
Well, Stevie, I think that's a good transition because I told you beforehand that the basis of our conversation here tonight is how we see this philosophical change in the Bills offense. And something that we've been talking about right along is that the way I see it, at least, and I think Kevin would agree with me, is that ever since Joe Brady took over, I think that this offense wants to be more well-balanced because they were too one-dimensional last year. And you heard how Joe Brady talked about that a couple of weeks ago. He said we need to be two-dimensional. So I think that they want to use the running game to set up the passing game because too many times teams were just teeing off on Allen and Diggs because they knew what was coming under Ken Dorsey's offense. So now I think you mentioned they drafted Ray Davis. They have James Cook. They brought back Ty Johnson. They're going to run 12 personnel again with those 2 tight ends. They totally built up the offensive line, and they really only lost Mitch Morse, but they drafted 3 guys. They signed La'el Collins. They brought over Will Clapp. So they have a lot of pieces, and now all these wide receivers who on the outside looking in, the football world is probably saying, what are the Buffalo Bills doing? But I really think that this is a smart approach because it's going to be a wide receiver by committee approach. And, you talked about those space creators with Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, KJ Hamler. We talked about the running game and the tight ends. And I think that they're going to have these big body receivers, Keon Coleman, Mac Hollins, now Chase Claypool. And who's the other one that I'm forgetting here? Because they had 4, Justin Shorter. So they have 4
Shorter.
guys who are 6'4" and 220 pounds or more. So I think those are going to be the run blockers. They're going to help pave the way, and then they're going to use their size to their advantage, go up and make the tough contested catch. And I think what you're going to see from the defense is they're going to respect that, and they're going to come up and say, hey, we really need to pay attention to these weapons, and we need to respect their running game. And once the defense comes up enough, That's why the Bills signed a guy like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, because now he can take the top off. So I think this is going to be a very well-balanced approach. And I think that's pretty much what you're getting at too, right?
Man, absolutely. This team is stacked. I can't wait to get on Madden and play with them again. It's going to be unbelievable this year. I just want them to not be competitive with each other. I want them to just love each other, man, and understand that, hey, you go up today, I'm going to go up next week, or I'm going to go up the next quarter, or something. Have that mentality, because it's so much money out there for y'all to get. And when I say money, yeah, physical money and just like plays. There's a lot of balls to go around, man. And I mean, we got nothing but playmakers on the team. If they just buy into it and understand what they're building, I feel like this is our time. This is our time. Every year is our year, man. I say that all the time, but every year is our year. You know how it goes.
We really appreciate you making some time while you're down in Hawaii. It looks beautiful there. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Ray Davis, though. Another good-looking running back from Kentucky. Really great, amazing story. I think many people have heard some of it, at least at this point. Do you know anything about Ray Davis? I mean, he looks like a prototypical RB2, maybe RB1B behind James Cook. What's anything you can share on his story or anything you know about Ray? I mean, he looks like he's going to fit right in here in Buffalo.
Absolutely. The people of Buffalo's gonna love Ray, because he is a child of the community. He came from the streets, and unfortunately, when I say came from the streets, it wasn't he had a hard time. No, he was literally a homeless kid, taking care of his fam, and made it out of the same area where I'm from, San Francisco, California, man. And going to Kentucky, becoming a Heisman candidate, man, then getting drafted. I couldn't believe that he got drafted. Actually, a Kentucky Wildcat got drafted to the Buffalo Bills, and the last Wildcat was me. So to be connected with him is pretty special, man. He's a unique player. The Bills Mafia is gonna love him. You know, I would say I would compare him to. All right, I don't want to go too far, but I'm saying if he can develop into it, he can be like a Le'Veon Bell, how he was. You know, he can be patient, get us that 4 or 5, and then just by committee, like you said, bring in Gore, Frank. Not Frank. James. You know, and we could just either throw or run it. You know, it's love out there in that position room. But yeah, just to finish off with Ray Davis, hell of a player, hell of a person. I can't wait till he make big plays so that the Bills Mafia can really understand what this kid been through. He may have a story on him or a docuseries, something coming up soon, but he's special player.
Stevie, I have 2 more for you. One's more of a statement and then one's a question, but the 2 correlate. So when you were saying how the wide receivers have to learn how to love the DBs and vice versa, I started thinking about Justin Shorter, because he went up against Kyer Elam in college. So I think those are 2 guys who are going to be battling this summer going into the season, because I think both guys want to prove themselves. And I think that would be a perfect example of how iron sharpens iron. And, you know, maybe it's not Trey White against Stephon Diggs, but I think that could be a very underrated battle where that they can both help each other because they have that experience playing in Florida together.
Absolutely. That's where it all starts. That's where it all starts, competing with each other, but not having a malicious competition, you know, because it can go both ways. People can be like, hey, I'm fighting for this spot, or you know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't want to dominate my guy on defense because I know he's trying to get a spot. You can't take it easy on him. You gotta compete, but with that mindset that we elevating each other. And that was me and Stephon, me and Drayton. You know, we didn't care if Drayton got me and he jammed me off the line. That's good. I gotta figure out a way to get better. He wasn't taking it easy on me, because if he took it easy on me, then I wouldn't know how to get off the line. You feel me? So just continue competing with each other, and the evolution will come. Just continue lead. Like I was about to say, lead the break. Continue leading the break like red zone football. But yeah, continue leading your wave.
And the last thing that I want to say is I want to finish by talking about the depth chart here, because I'm curious to see your opinions. You know, we're talking about Justin Shorter. We also mentioned Chase Claypool, and by all accounts, he's been really showing up and showing out so far. So in your mind, how do you see this depth chart shaken out here? And how many wide receivers do you think that the Bills will carry? Because a couple of weeks ago, Kevin and I were trying to, guesstimate here with the depth chart. And we said that it could really come down to Justin Shorter and Chase Claypool for wide receiver 6. So if you want to start at wide receiver 1 and work your way back, I mean, the floor is yours. So just how do you see the room shaking out as a whole?
Okay, yeah, let's throw out names in. So we know for sure that our draftees gonna be there. So Keon's gonna be there. We know Coleman. We know Mac Hollins. I feel like Mac Hollins is a great savvy player that we can keep. Obviously, our addition with a Super Bowl champion. Shoot for us, Claypool Shorter,
Well, there's
and then we
Curtis
have
Samuel
KJ.
too.
Do we have any practice squad eligibility?
Let's just pull up the depth chart here, and we'll go. I mean, because the Bills have.
He will. Shorter will definitely have practice squad eligibility. That's probably where he's likely to fit. But hey, if he has a great camp, I mean, he could win that job. But he would have. Shorter would have that practice squad eligibility for sure.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm thinking. Because if anyone was to get the nod, it'd be Claypool over Shorter. Because I mean, obviously he was his draft status all that. It does play a part. His potential, it does play a part. He's not a 5'11" guy. He's literally 6'5", damn near 230, 240. How could you pass that up? And if he's showing that he can make the same plays that Shorter's making in practice, Claypool is going to get the nod. It is what it is. Shorter got to continue to grind and bust his butt because anything can happen any week. And just don't be discouraged at all because he can still be a stud on the squad later on or somewhere else. We hope it's not somewhere else, but it is what it is. It's not the end of the world for you. But yeah, I would say Claypool may get Shorter out if it was a head-to-head competition.
So
that's
Stevie,
just how it is.
Would you agree then that it's Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir as the top three?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So
then I would throw in Hollins. I would throw Hollins in after that.
MVS?
Valdez Scotland. Yeah, I would say he would stay. And yeah, KJ, Chase, and Shorter, they fighting for position in whatever undrafted free agents we have. Y'all still not out the picture either. Y'all can make it. I mean, I don't want to say this either, but injuries happen, but at the end of the day, I was a 7th round draft pick, 224. Nobody at that time, definitely no 7th rounds was making a team. Hey, go out and do what you do, man. It's your world. Why not you? Shout out my boy JK. Why not you?
Yeah, shout out to Terrell Shavers, a guy that's been really impressing to the camp in camp last year and is said to be making a push in special teams. So Shavers as well. But yeah, look at what you were able to do. And then obviously you got guys like Puka Nacua in the 5th round. But I mean, he's as good as anybody is in the league. Yeah. So absolutely right.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a lot of opportunity. They just got to stay focused, stay locked in. Don't get your mind distracted off of the write-ups, the naysayers and things like that. Just understand that the Bills have a plan, and do whatever you can to stay in that building. Do whatever you can, whether special teams, practice squad. I love practice squad. I wasn't officially on a practice squad, but that's where I was able to work on the moves that people wasn't teaching. It was during those scout team sessions. So just enjoy it, man. Y'all in a hell of a time right now. Enjoy it.
So just so we're all on the same page, if I were to put these wide receivers in tiers, you have Coleman, Samuel, Shakir, Mac Hollins, and MVS, wide receivers 1 through 5. And then it looks like Chase Claypool, Justin Shorter, and KJ Hamler will be battling for wide receiver 6. And then if they do decide to keep that 7th, or if there's someone who just really surprises in training camp, there still is Andy Isabella, Tyrell Shavers, like you mentioned, Brian Thompson, Lawrence Keys, and Xavier Johnson. So it's going to be a battle this summer.
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing them go to work, man. I can't wait to see them battle against the DBs. I can't wait to see them against the preseason opponents. Because you named some names I forgot about. I forgot we had Andy Isabella. I've been checking him since he was with Arizona Cardinals. He's got sweet moves. Man, that's another guy that can make it. Xavier, he showed great skill coming in. It's great. It's great for us to see right now. I'm looking forward to St. John Fishers.
Yeah, awesome. Stevie, last question we got. Someone wants you to come out of retirement. You still got those moves that made you famous back in 2010?
Oh yeah, I can get a couple first down. Hey, red zone killer. You know, I'm ready. Get me in there, red zone, and let the boys do the rest.